Hey, I'm Robert Lewis, and welcome to Faith for Success. I'm so glad that you came on today and that you're watching this video. And today's topic, I believe, is going to be one that is going to be very beneficial to you if you take it and apply it to whatever industry or whatever endeavor that you're doing. Because we're going to talk about today on how to solve problems. How to solve problems. Before we get started, if you like this channel, if you like the videos that's coming out, I want to encourage you to please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. And if you know someone that can use this content, please share this video with them today. Okay, so let's talk about how can we solve problems. Okay, a couple of years ago, when I was in college, well, it's more than a couple of years ago, as you can see. But when I was in college, one of my mentors, he said something to me that I will always remember. He said, those who solve problems get paid. Those who solve problems get paid. And I really did not fully understand or embrace what he told me until I began to start working. As many of you know, I am bivocational. I'm a pastor, and I'm also a software developer. And in both of those areas of my life, I am presented with problems that I have to solve. And I'm going to talk to you about some different things that I have had to go through as a software developer and how I have begun to look at problems I was faced with and how I was able to come up with solutions. And as I begin to think about things as a software developer, really, your job, what you've been hired to do is you're not hired to write code. You're hired to solve problems. With every line of code that you write, you're working to solve a problem. Someone has something that they want to create, something they want to put out forth in the marketplace, and they're hiring you as a developer to solve that problem to make sure that it comes forth. Or they see there's something that's broken, there's something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be implemented, and they hire you as a developer to solve that problem. As a software developer, your job is not to write code. Your job is to solve problems. And I have been faced with many problems within my career. And so I want to tell you some different things that I know that's going to be very, very important, and that I believe that you can apply to your life, whether you are trying to write a book, whether you're trying to start a business, whether you're trying to start a ministry, or whether you are working in ministry, or whether you're working as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, trying to create multiple streams of income. You're going to have problems that you're going to be faced with, and that you're going to have to come up with a solution in order to be able to see your dreams come to fruition, or to be able to achieve your goals and to move forward in whatever you're trying to do. So I'm going to share some things with you that I believe will be helpful to you as we're talking about how to solve problems. The very first thing that I want you to understand is that you must change your mindset when it concerns problems. And when I say that, you need to begin to think about this more than just a problem. Now think about this as an opportunity to come up and to find a solution. A lot of times we are faced with a problem. It can seem so big and it can seem so daunting. And be honest with you, you can become fearful. But no, you need to change your mindset and say, you know what? No, this is an opportunity for me to find a solution that can be a benefit to me. And you know what? It could be a solution that can be a benefit to everyone inside of the world, everyone inside of my industry, everyone inside of my community, everyone inside of this world. They can benefit from the solution that I am about to discover. So you need to change your mindset. Don't allow yourself to be fearful of the problem that you're faced with. You got to have faith and believe, look, I can solve this problem. So let's look at the second thing. It says, you must believe that every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, it says, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe. That's in Mark 9, verse number 23. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. I'm going to give you an example. One of the issues that I was working on, I'm not going to go into specifics, but I'll just give you a little bit. It was a situation where for years, something had never worked. It never worked. And all the other developers that worked on it, they could never figure it out. This happened to me a couple times in my career with different issues and different things that were going on. And people telling me, people tell me, look, no, it's never worked. No one's ever been able to figure it out. And at first, especially when I was young in my career, I would say to myself, I said, "Ooh, why they give me such a hard one? How am I going to figure this out? Why they give it to me?" I was self-doubting. I was living with negative thoughts to keep me from having the right attitude to understand this is an opportunity to come up with a solution. But as I began to look at things, as I began to change my mindset, say, no, this is an opportunity. And look, every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution. So with that mindset, I began to work and began to think and I began to strategize and I began to look at things. And eventually I was able to come up with the solution. But I had to change my mindset, stop listening to what everybody else was saying, and believe that every problem had a solution, including the problems that I was working on. So with that, I want to give you some steps when you are faced with a problem, when you're trying to solve something, or some different things on how to approach solving that problem, okay? So these are the basic steps of solving a problem that I would take as a software developer, but I believe that will be beneficial, that can help you, whatever industry that you're working in. I believe that what I'm talking to you today, that it can be beneficial in whatever industry or whatever you're doing, whatever endeavor you're doing. I believe that these steps can be helpful. The first thing is you have to have a good understanding of the problem, and you have to be able to try to reproduce it. You have to have a good understanding what the problem is, and you need to be, in some cases, you need to be able to understand how can I reproduce it. You need to be able to fully be able to say, okay, I see what the issue is. I see what needs to be done. I see what I need to solve. You need to know what you need to solve. You need to know what you need to solve. And then from there, that sets the foundation for your work moving forward. All right. The next thing you need to do, you need to be able to analyze all of the critical points. All right. As a software developer, if I'm looking at an application, one thing I'm going to look at, okay, all right, has any code been changed? All right. Has any code changed since this issue started? Does this code, does it interact with any databases? Okay, does this code interact with any external APIs that's not working? I look at all the critical points that could cause this application not to work, and I take those things into consideration. All right, so I've allowed myself to get a good understanding of what the problem is. I know how to reproduce it. I've looked at all the critical points, and then now I begin to ask questions. Okay, I begin to do my research. Sometimes I might reach out to someone else who who worked on the problem before, someone who just last worked on the problem, or reach out to someone who's a little more knowledgeable about the situation or the code than I am. Just get some insight from them and see if they can tell me something that can help me with my situation. All right, after I've done my research, I've asked my questions. Now I began to formalize hypotheses. Okay, well, as we know, if you may not know, an hypothesis is an educated guess. So I began to form an educated guess of how to solve this problem based on my research, based on my understanding of how to reproduce the issue and what's going on and all the critical points. I form my hypotheses, and now after I form my hypotheses, then I start formalizing my tests. Okay, with my tests, I start thinking okay, I understand what's going on. I think I know what the issue is. How can I test my solution to see if it works? Okay, and then after you do that, I want you to understand that sometimes your hypotheses is going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to get it on the first try, but sometimes, more often than not, you're going to have to change your approach to your hypotheses, or change your hypotheses all the way over and just start all over again. So you have to be willing to change. And that's something that I see that a lot of people struggle with, is that they get glued to one idea. They get married to one idea, or say it like that. and they don't want to change. They say, you know what, I'm going to make it work. But sometimes your first thought of how it's going to work is never going to work. And you have to be willing to change. There's been many times in my career when I thought it was going to work some way, I was going to figure out a solution one way. After I made the change, I said I'm going to go in another direction, think about it from another perspective, a different way of attacking it from a different point of view. I was able to solve the problem. So don't get married or just be glued or just stuck on one way and say it has to be this way or no way at all, because sometimes it's just not going to work the way that you thought it was going to work initially. Okay. And then the last thing I want to encourage you, the last step, is to never give up. Never give up. Never give up. And so this is going to bring me to my last point is, look, don't allow yourself to dwell and to listen or even begin to speak words of negativity, of doubt, and unbelief. Okay. You might hear, let's start with going back to what I told you before about some of those problems I had with people saying, look, no one's ever been able to figure it out. You can begin to think on things like that. Okay. No one was ever be able to figure out. You might say, you know what? No one else was able to figure it out. I'm not able to figure it out. No, do not allow yourself to have self-doubt concerning the situation. Believe that you will be able to figure out the problem. You know, sometimes people go through imposter syndrome, I should say, especially when I was very, very early on in my career. There was a lot of stuff I did not know because I was very new to the industry of software development. And, you know, I did not feel qualified. I was like, man, they're going to figure out, I don't know what's going on. But I was qualified to do the job. They hired me to do the job. I went through the interview. I answered the questions. They knew that I was qualified, but I had to believe in myself. So don't allow yourself to have an imposter syndrome. Believe that you are well capable of doing it. All right. All right. People say it's too hard. So don't let what other people say about the problem affect you and allow it to affect you to believe that you can't solve the problem. Okay. And then the next thing I say, others say it can't be done. All right. But remember what I said before, we have to believe that every problem has a solution, and we have to believe that we have what it takes to be able to solve the problem. The last thing I want to say to you, you know, I'm a man of faith, and I'm always going to point you in the way I believe is the right way. And I want to tell you, look, I pray to God. There's been many times in my life I had no idea how to solve a situation. Yeah, I talked to other people. I did my research. I looked online, but I was not able to figure out the issue until I sought God. So I want to encourage you, hey, look, seek God, pray, and God will oftentimes give you the answer. He'll lead you in the right direction. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. And so I want to encourage you and let you know, look, you can solve problems. I believe that you take these steps, you apply them to your life, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're going through. I believe that you will be able to solve more problems, and you will be able to make a bigger impact in your community, in your place of work, your place of business, in your ministry. I believe that you can have a bigger impact as you begin to solve problems. Hey, if you enjoyed this video today, I want to encourage you, please like and share and subscribe to this video and to this channel. And I want you to always remember, look, hey, first and foremost, look, yes, you can solve problems. I believe you to apply these steps to your life. It will be a blessing to you, and you'll see more things get accomplished from a solution standpoint when it comes to problems. Remember, it takes faith for success. Thank you for watching. Take care, and God bless.